Welcome back to another episode of The Young and Thoughtful, and this is part two from the last episode. Part two. Part one was a tough one about my simping days, but I got to give y'all part two, man. The story ain't done. Shockingly, the story ain't done. But to kind of transition into the part two, but basically, as y'all know from the last part. Church girl, became obsessed with her, went into the comic sessions. DM'd her probably 20 times, went into the comic section, poured out my heart to her in a DM, and she just left me on scene. So to kind of pick up on that, basically ever since that DM, I didn't see her again at church. And basically I was kind of shocked by it. I was like, okay, I don't see her often at church anymore. Like what is it? But I would just assume like, hey, maybe it's God sparing me the embarrassment of seeing her on a week to week basis, right? And then it became a week, and then became to, a month, and then it became like a whole year where I just didn't see this girl. So in my head, I was just like, you know what? They probably are going at a different time, or they're going to a different church. I was like, great. It's just out. I don't have to see it every day. I'm straight. It's gone. Closed book. Until the following year. And the following year, I don't know whether it was sophomore year or junior year, but basically I had signed up for dual enrollment classes, which is basically you're taking college classes in high school at a community college. And one of the classes I signed up was English composition. And on the first day of that class, I walk in, and guess who I see? I see the church girl. If I tell you I was sweating like a muh, I was sweating, boy. Because the whole time I'm thinking like, oh, she still sees me as the guy that probably DM'd, that was in the comment section, that said, hey, pouring out his heart via DM and stuff like that, left on the scene. So I'm just thinking like she remembers all of that. And that was one of the longest classes ever, right? But after that class was done, and then a couple days went by, the delusion started to hit back again. And the delusion fed me with the idea of maybe this is a second chance. Maybe God has given me a second chance to go at this girl. Delusion. But after a couple weeks of, because we had that class twice a week, right? So after a couple weeks of actually building the courage again, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to her again. And after class, I went up to go talk to her. I was like, hey, you're such and so from my church, right? I remember you. And then she was like, oh yeah, what time do you usually go to? Guys, she didn't even remember me. She didn't even remember me. Or to my knowledge, she didn't remember me. She could have just acted like it, but she didn't remember me. So instead of taking that as a thing where it's like, dude, she literally didn't even care to the point where she doesn't even care about you, to the point where she didn't even remember you, bro. Why even pursue? And I took that, and instead of taking it like that, I took it as a sign of, oh, this is my second chance. This is my clean slate. So I took the second row. I took it as a clean slate. So anyways, I built up a habit of kind of like talking to her after class, going up to her and stuff like that, just, conversating, right? And she's conversating with me too, after class for like several, for weeks to come. And then I got to a point where I asked her for a snap, and then she gave it to me, and I was super happy. I mean, like, again, I wanted another lottery. And, I was snapping her, but she was super dry. It took an extremely long time. Like I said, the delusion, man. And I was so obsessed to the point, oh, man, even my high school friends know, this is sad. I would count. So each time, like, I would send her a snap, or I would send her like a Snapchat message. If she didn't respond for a long time, like every 30 minutes, I would go into her Snapchat score to see if she was like messaging other people, because I wanted to see like, oh, is she just ignoring me, or is she just taking a really long time to respond? And guess what? That Snapchat score increased and increased. guys, this is even hard for me to talk about. I can't even believe I did all of this stuff, man, but it's the truth. But anyways, but anyways, but I'm still conversating with her after class and stuff like that, right? Until the point where I was like, you know what? I want to ask her out on a date. I want to ask her out on a date. So I don't know what. So after one class, I just asked her out. I was like, you know what? I would love to, like, I want to hang out. We should hang out. Like, would you be down to go to the movies with me? And then, I mean, at this time, I didn't really know, dating. I never asked out a girl before during this time. And she was just like, yeah, but maybe not the movies, but we can go out to eat. And I was like, okay, bet, let's do it. And boy, let me tell you, I won the lottery that day. I thought I just won the NBA finals during that day when she said that, bro. So I was just like, yeah, I was so hyped until reality started to hit, because my mom, like, I'm Nigerian, and my mom is Nigerian. My mom was not going to let me go on a date at all, period. That was no discussion. I tried to convince her by saying, like, hey, this is going to be potentially my homecoming date. Like, she goes to my church and she goes to church, everything like that. Like, let me do this. It wasn't going to work. So either way, I set up something just to cancel. So I was just like, you know what? All right, let me figure out a way to cancel this. Let me use this as a way just to build off momentum so I can still talk to her and stuff like that, right? So I sent her a message. I don't know why I felt so insecure about it. And like I said, man, I was very insecure in this time. I felt like I had to lead with just a made up idea of myself. So I told her I texted her, I'd be like, hey, I got to cancel because I guess I was insecure about, like, I don't know, maybe because I didn't have money or anything, but I was just like, hey, I have to cancel because I have a bake meeting. A 15, 16-year-old has a bank meeting. That's why I have to cancel on this date. She left me on red. And it was, and after that, and after I canceled on her, like, now, like, we weren't conversating after class and everything like that, but I would still bump into her, and each time I bump into her, I would just be like, hey, like, we still gotta hang out and stuff like that. But she would just always brush it off, like, well, I'm busy, stuff like that, right? But obviously I didn't take the hint. I just kept on asking whenever I saw her, right? And one thing that I did was really cringe was that I kept on, like I said, man, I was super insecure. I didn't think I thought low of myself. So I kept on trying to curse in order to seem cool to her. So, like, each time I go up to her, I mean, like, yeah, like, you gotta stop being so so busy so we can hang out. But that's not her speed, bro. She is a church girl, bro. She was completely turned off by that. I could see it visibly for her face. She did not like that as well. That was a red flag for her too. So I was putting myself in a hole, man. Until one day, this is the day where the heartbreak started to come in. Is where I basically, I don't know, like I said, she didn't come to church at the same time I did, right? After I sent that DM before, but basically she showed up this one day, and I was like, oh, let me go talk to her again and do the same thing where it'd be like, hey, we still gotta hang out, because I actually Snapchatted her, but she left me undelivered again. She left me undelivered. So, yeah, I know this is hard to talk about. So I went up to her after church. I was like, hey, like, yeah, you didn't message me back. Like, yo, what's good? Like, you didn't message me back. And then she literally looks at me and says this. I think she just got annoyed and fed up with me at this time again. She's like, I tell her, like, hey, you didn't message me, this and that. And then she looked at me like this. Sorry, I guess. Bullet to the heart. That was a gunshot to the heart. So I moved on from that. I was like, oh, well, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I guess you're busy. And then I was like, but we still got to hang out, though. We still got to hang out. We still got to go out. And then she was like, yeah. You know what? Let's do it with friends. Let's do it with friends. Boom! Another gunshot to the heart. Boy, let me tell you, I was so heartbroken right after that, dog. I felt like I was. Then I started to sober up from the delusion. I mean, like, man, I've just been bothering this girl for how many months? I just been so delusional, thinking I had a chance and all this type of stuff, man. I remember after she did all of that, after she told me that, and I left. I remember I was driving home with my mom and stuff, man. I almost got in a car accident, bro, because I was so distraught. I was so emotionally distraught. I couldn't focus. Almost got in a car accident. My mom took the steering wheel. She was so pissed off at me. But yeah. But anyways, to kind of conclude this story, because that's not the end. Because the part that really hurt was because, you know how you always feel like if you ever have like a breakup or anything like that, you always feel like, man, I'm going to level up. You know what I mean? They're going to be sorry and stuff like that, right? And during that time, I was pursuing basketball. So one day I'm watching her snap. One day her snap comes up on my Snapchat, right? Her snap story. She's with the number one. I remember and I'm thinking like, I'm going to the NBA. Like, I'm going to prove these people wrong. Like, now these people are going to like, you know what I mean? Now these people want to get to hang out with me and stuff like that, but I'm not going to have the time with them. You know how Riff Raff is, you know, with the famous quote by Riff Raff, get so rich and famous that you don't even know nobody no more. But basically, I went on Snapchat, right? But still during this time, I'm not even remotely known for basketball, right? Well, I never really was, but I wasn't even remotely known. I'm still in the grassroots. But basically, I went on her Snapchat story, and she's cuddled up with the number one, with the best quarterback in our county, watching him on TV. And that was another gunshot to the heart. That was another gunshot card. Because now I can't even imagine me even being that big shot because you with him right now. So that was really tough. That was really tough. Seeing the girl of your dreams cuddled up with it was like a high school movie, bruh. Seeing the girl of your dreams cuddled up with the best quarterback in the county while they're both watching his highlights and his interview on TV. That was a tough pill to swallow, man. That was a tough pill to swallow. Sorry, guys. The camera ain't working, so we're going to have to switch over to audio for just a couple seconds. But anyways, just to finish off, basically, again, moral of this is that, at the end of the day, know your value. Know your value, know your worth, and respect yourself, man. Because at the end of the day, that girl was never going to be compatible with me. And she was never going to value me for who I truly was. And, at the end of the day, somebody, at the end of the day, even for me, somebody was, there are plenty of other people that are out there that are able to see that value and are able to really know your worth and appreciate it for what it is. And there's no need to force anything or chase after anything at all, man. I wish I could go back and tell myself that. Because, at the end of the day, man, I feel like that kid during that time didn't realize how valuable he was. And, he really didn't need to know that. So anyways, like, subscribe, comment, and I appreciate you guys for tuning into the episode. Tune in for more. And, stay tuned in for more. There will be more stories.